Open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
Yo, it's pictures from the book
This is the voice of reason. I'm baby Oprah. Voice of reason. Voice of reason. How y'all doing out here tonight? Welcome to the new season of the Voice of Reason. I'm your host, baby Oprah, also known as Kadi, and I'm so excited. I know you guys missed me and been like hounding me on Instagram to come back on, but I have a very special show planned for you guys today. A lot of you guys told me that you wanted to touch on situationships. If you came to my live podcast, I told you it was the first on my list of shit we're leaving in 2019. We're not bringing ghetto situationships into 2020, but during my time here, for all of you guys know, I work at Viacom 9 to 5. I met a beautiful young lady by the name of Cylla. She is the creator of the show Situationships.
Yes.
If you haven't heard about it already, it started out, you created it in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got 500,000 views. And it's picked up by BET and Black.
Yes.
What is it?
Blavity.
Blavity, okay.
Mm-hmm. And now it's on BET Digital. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Strong black woman doing her thing. Now, I just really want to know, I got a chance to watch a few episodes on the show, and I really want to know what made you want to do a show on situationships.
Sure. So, when I first got to New York, I'm originally from Georgia. I realized that me and my girlfriends just had really, really trash dating lives. So a lot of the inspiration behind it came from some like personal stories that I changed into like totally fictional storylines. But some of the things that really sparked it was that I had a girlfriend in Atlanta. You know, she's living her best life, dating around lots of different people. She has, you know, an engagement with, you know, 3 people or whatever. And then she starts dating one of them. Everything's perfect for 3 months. And then she sends me a message, it's over, I hate him. I was like, what happened? She sends me a link to Craigslist. I'm like, what's on the link? So I hit the link. And this man is butt naked.
On Craigslist?
On Craigslist.
I thought you like sell cars and find jobs on Craigslist.
No.
I didn't know he was selling ass on Craigslist.
Yes, he was butt naked on Craigslist.
Wait, this is a real story.
Yes, in Atlanta, and he was looking for people in the transgender community to hook up with.
No.
And my girlfriend had no idea,
Oh my
totally
God.
fine.
How'd she find it?
Oh, the other person, a part of the thing, wanted her to know about. Anyway,
Oh my God.
that was one story. I had another girlfriend in New York. She was dating a guy who was way older than her, and she left something at his place. She gets on the train, and apparently there's another girl that gets on the train. Both of them, they're transferring, going to the same place. They get off the same station, and they are both walking to this guy's house. This is a real story.
We haven't even gotten to the show yet. This is a real story.
Just inspiration, and the actual girlfriend recognizes my friend and is like, oh, I've seen all of your photos. I've seen you messaging my man, and we're about to fight right now. The boyfriend comes outside, and it's like all of them. And not to mention my horrible dating experiences with people that I dated in the past, toxic, whatever. So the inspiration was truly like, okay, this is just so wild and crazy that this could be a whole TV show.
And then, you know what? It's so crazy because, well, for those of you who do not know what a situationship is, I want to just give the definition. To me, it's basically a relationship that doesn't come with a title.
Right.
So it's like every component, I will say physical component that comes with dealing with someone romantically.
Sometimes even emotional.
But there's no
you don't know
official
what's going on.
title, okay? No. And I've had my own share of experiences that we're going to get into. Hopefully it doesn't bring up any PTSD, but I just have this thing about situationships being so ghetto because a lot of times, especially being young, we it's something that's like, painted to be like fun is a thing that we do, but a lot of people don't discuss like the trauma that comes with it, and it ultimately affects you later on in life and affects you getting into a more serious relationship when you're ready for it. So
but there are also some people that's what they like. There are some people that's what they like. They don't want to be committed. They want polyamorous relationships and like things like that. So it's kind of like which one do you fall into?
I have yet to meet someone. They say they want it, but I have yet to meet someone who actually can handle what it takes to make a healthy situationship. I just don't think there's a such thing. Very healthy. I don't think there's a such thing as a healthy relationship. Now, I took a look at some episodes on season 2, and you touch on some heavy stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
One, I did an episode on women who cheat, and one of the characters on the show, it wasn't, we think of situationships and the bad of it, we always think men. Like, they're the ones to usually drag you in these situations. They're the ones that usually bring all the toxicness that is a part of being in a situationship. But you had a character where the woman.
She was living.
Okay?
Yes.
Can you give me the character's name?
Her name is Robin.
Robin. And she was dating
Taryn.
Taryn. Now, there was a part where Taryn is like, I love you. Right? And she's like,
She said what? What did you say?
And what was the crazy part? I've been in a situation like that, but I feel like when we do it as women, we don't look at it as bad as it is versus when a man does it.
Exactly.
So what was like your inspiration behind that character?
Sure. So Robin is like just like a totally fun character, completely the opposite of me. I wanted to actually have a character that was kind of like empowered in her dating. And she wasn't looking for a commitment. And I think it's just like the juxtaposition. Because like the typical standard of a woman, they want to be in a relationship. They want something so faithful. But I think what makes Robin interesting is that she's like the complete opposite. And she's almost kind of like the girl that girls wish they could be. So it's just so much fun writing her character.
I was literally gonna say that's the best thing I like about her character. I like that perspective of women because a lot of times the narrative is, every woman just wants to be loved and wants to be with a man, and I hate the fact that a lot of times as women we give away our power. And most of the time I've realized in my experiences and the experiences I see my friends go through, and I have a lot of male friends, I don't think women realize how much men are just going with the flow. Exactly. And when you set the tone, I mean, that wasn't the case with Taryn, but I just feel like if you set the tone, the man ultimately have no choice but to follow because it's in their nature. They're the hunters. But a lot of times women, because of pride and just like not wanting to come off too womanly, clingy, like all the negative stereotypes that come with being a woman, that they end up just falling into this whirlpool of nothing because if the man has no perspective on where he plans to go, and then you're not setting the tone, y'all going nowhere.
Y'all go nowhere.
Really fast.
Y'all just somewhere.
Now another part I hit on, which is like a part that a lot of people don't discuss when it comes to situationships, there was a character, I feel like both the man and the woman were on the same page, but then the woman got pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like people be forgetting when we out here having fun. Like, shit can get real really quick. So a lot of times we can look for temporary situations and then permanent results come from it or whatever. So like, I didn't get to see how that ended. I don't know if you want to give it away, but I'm gonna watch it because that was like, okay, she got too real.
Yeah. Basically, she wasn't exactly, sure who it could have been. Essentially, and she was still trying to get back with her ex even though she got pregnant with somebody else. Very messy. Yes. Very, very messy.
So what would you say is the most common dynamics of situationships? Because the overall definition, like we said, is just relationships that don't have a title, that don't establish a title. But what would you say is the most common forms of or dynamics of a situationship type of relationship?
Sure. I feel as though usually there's always one person who wants something more than the other. There's always a lack of communication in it, whether someone else they might ghost you. You might have feelings for someone and they just completely disappear. It might be where someone wants a relationship, the other person doesn't. It might be you're both too scared of commitment. It's like so many different things. And I think because of where we're at with social media, online dating, everyone's so disposable, and on top of that, being in New York, where you can date someone and then if you don't want to talk to them, like you don't have to see them ever again.
Yeah,
like,
that's real. That's real.
In New York.
I mean, I ghost people that I might see again still because I just don't like to. I have this thing where it's like there's a stage in dating where I feel like if I have not made an impact in your life, like we haven't really, we ain't stay up on the phone all night. It's just the beginning phases, and if you present something to me that is like, okay, this isn't gonna work. I don't know. Some people say it's bad. I just go ghost. I'm like, you know what? I've tried the explaining route, but a lot of times men are just douchebags, and it's like they don't need to know what they did wrong. They know what they did wrong. They just want to try you,
and then they try to pretend like they don't know.
Exactly. Now I want to bring it to other people because I want us to get into the nitty gritty of situationships, dating, and all that good stuff. So y'all ready back there? All right, guys, we're back, and I had to have two new people to join us, but I want everyone to introduce themselves because we're going to get into some real things. So I want you to say your name, a little bit about yourself, your sign, and your relationship status. You can go first.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Cylla Senii. I am the creator of Situationships. My status is that I am not in a situationship anymore.
Thank God.
We're not doing situationships in 2020.
Okay,
I'm a Pisces, so that means I'm a dreamer, and I be off. I'm emotional, but I'm very sensitive and creative, and I be in a whole other universe,
Yes, and she is the creator of the show Situationships.
Oh, me. Okay. Hi, you guys. I'm Shell. I'm from DC. Hey, y'all. Girl love. But I currently live in New York City. I'm a Gemini. I'm not crazy, so don't think I'm crazy, you guys. We just have two different sides to elevate us. So that's that. And am I currently in a situationship? No.
You have to think about it.
No, I'm not in a situationship.
Oh, we gonna get into that.
My name is Chase. I go by a few AKAs, aka Chasela Mode, aka Young Pinot Grigio. I am the co-host of the Bros with No Host podcast, alongside with my co-host VinceBracy.com. So I gotta give him a shout out. I didn't know we had to say signs.
Yeah.
So I'm a Libra.
I don't know. Oh yeah, you're Libra. Y'all get along.
I like Libras.
Yeah,
that's how we connected.
I'm clearly the only one providing the male perspective.
Yeah. So if anything, he is holding y'all down. Attack him. What's your Instagram again? Attack this man because he's 3-on-1 right now.
It's only 3-on-1.
Now, I had to bring other perspectives in because I just feel like Cylla was talking earlier, there's so many perspectives and aspects of situationships. And, I just want us to bring our stories together and just bring our perspectives together to really hone in on what it is about situationships that make it toxic or even makes it work for some people. Because like you mentioned earlier, there's people who are into it. Now, I have this thing I mentioned again at my live podcast, we're leaving situationships in 2020. And the reason why I'm so against it is because a lot of times I feel like the need or what kind of brings us to situationships is lack of knowing ourselves and insecurity. And honestly, a lot of times when you come out of those situationships and you're forced to sit back and look at yourself, it's just like everything that it reveals to you about yourself is something that you haven't been dealing with internally that projected itself into a situationship. What would you guys say about that?
I personally agree with that. I feel like everything is kind of a choice, and you can choose whatever boundaries you may want to have, or whatever it is that you want a relationship to be. So it's like, if you actually want a relationship, then communicate that. Then you won't waste your time.
Right.
But a lot of times, I just feel like this generation, we're a little afraid to be kind of authentic sometimes, or because of the past, we might be too scared to just lay it all out there.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I would agree with that because Kadi, you know, I come to you. Listen,
yes,
sorry, if I done talked to you in the past, Kadi done help me with you. Okay,
when you texting you together, I'm like, write this. I love him.
But no, I would agree with that as far as like not really knowing what you want, and I'm really big in communication. And it wasn't until like I kind of got to this point in my life now, because in the past it was just like, I don't know what to say. I'm a little afraid. Like, I like him, but like if I say this wrong, and that's why I got in situationships, because I wasn't vocal. I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't true to myself of like, okay, so this is what you want.
Right.
He can't change that. Like, I'm at that point now, but I think that's the reason why I was in so many situationships, because I was just kind of like going with the flow. Like, I like him, so I'm gonna just test the waters a little bit.
The water, where that water leads you.
And led me to the Sahara Desert. That's where that be, okay?
Chase?
I think it's just a scarcity mindset. I think we all, I mean, I can't really say for both men and women, I guess for anybody, it's really the fear of like losing someone. So we're willing to put ourselves in any situation because that's convenient for us. You know, I think for me personally, I've put myself in a lot of situationships, I guess you could say, simply because it was like you were there, you were in close proximity, and I didn't feel like going out to go see other people, didn't have the time to, and you was just there. And because I knew that that wasn't really a situation I should have been in, it was just convenient for me, and I had the scarcity mindset to say like, yo, like this isn't for me, because if I knew I said that, most likely you would leave me, and then I would be out of, you know what I mean? And I think it could, I mean, you guys could speak to it better than I can, but it could be the same situation for women too. It's like, it's conveniency. We, at the end of the day, like nobody wants to be alone. Like we all want somebody, regardless if it's a situation
or something.
Or something.
Not always someone. I would say, you know, I'm over here preaching, don't do situationships, but I do want to add that I've been on the side that kind of pushed for situationships. And let me tell you, I'm big on what you put out in the universe will come back and haunt your ass, okay? And that karma, I had a situation, and surprisingly, well, I had two situationships that I made a situationship, and it was, I knew I was dead wrong because I shouldn't have did that. But there was one that it was strictly emotional. It was strictly emotional. Like this guy, initially, he reminded me of a guy that put me in a situationship where I was on the devastated side prior to that. And he looked just like him. So I'm like, oh my God,
just like
he looked like my toxic nigga. Let's go to him. So I'm like, you know.
Did you try to do that on purpose then?
No, it wasn't on purpose. I was really just like, we met up. We met through a friend. I so happened to be at his birthday party. He actually had a girlfriend at the time. And I'm just like flirting with him or whatever. Not when he was there with the girlfriend, but on the phone. And then we met. It's this long story. But long story short, he had a girlfriend. But I guess with my flirting, he was still like being loyal to his girlfriend, but he still wanted to like kind of communicate with me. So we left it on the like, you know, I wasn't messing with nobody, man, but we were flirting. And then one day he just texted me like, oh, we broke up. So I'm like, oh shit, I don't think I want to get that guy. Like, yeah. After that, he made it seem like it was for me, so I felt obligated to entertain him. But I just used to love the fact that he was always available to me. And emotionally, I think I needed that at the time.
So he was your emotional?
Yeah, like he would like call me and be like, let's go to Whole Foods. I used to like ghetto shit like that. Like, yes, like just having something to do. Like I was like, was I in school? I wasn't in school at the time. I graduated already. But just, I was at that, you know, when we're in that question mark phase of our life, when we're young, we're constantly looking for a distraction. So what people don't realize is that every area of your life is dependent on the other. Like, we like to compartmentalize, like, oh, I'm focused on my future, I'm focused. No, they're all dependent on each other. And when I was in the stage where I was confused with what I wanted to do with myself professionally, I was looking for every distraction in the book. Like, going out on weekends with my friends, like partying. I was just trying to find light in other areas of my life. So he was a great distraction. But then it reached a point where I realized I wasn't sexually attracted to him. But he was taking me on dates. He was like popping up at my job, taking me to lunch. So I wasn't willing to sacrifice that.
But you like that though.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that shit. Like,
reason why a lot of people get in a situationship, and I think it's very convenient for a woman where you can go out with a guy, have emotional conversations, you can go on a date, and you don't gotta give up no cootie. Like, that's probably like the best thing for
Bro,
you.
it was that.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you that. But let me tell you what karma came and bit my ass in the ass, okay?
What happened?
It wasn't even him, because I was still like able to like, you know, low-key drag him along. But in my mind, I'm saying to myself, I didn't tell this man I want a relationship. And as long as I didn't say that, I'm not at fault. So honestly, in the moment, it wasn't intentional. It was just like, I mean, he already know it. I ain't kissing her. I didn't.
Yes, you was.
Individual, man. Honestly, you don't realize how bad it is in the moment. And this is why I always say, just because someone doesn't make it official or tell you I want to be with you, or just because you don't send them physical signals of like wanting to be with them, if you see someone emotionally going towards a certain way with you, you are responsible to make it clear to them that that's not what you want. And that's where we fall short. A lot of times we don't feel at fault when we're the ones creating the situationship dynamic, because you're telling yourself, well, I ain't telling them
Right.
I wanted this, or so what made me feel bad.
But you answering my calls.
That's
and whenever
true.
I invite you on a date,
And
you
that-
Well, you was feeding me.
like
You was feeding me.
we're sitting, we're talking, and I'm giving you all these emotional conversations. You're giving me all these deep conversations. So, ultimately, I'm gonna be like, dang, like she must be really be feeling me like that if she's opening up to
And
me
vice
like
versa.
that.
That's what
Yeah,
guys
we did.
do too.
The guys do that all the time.
You know what I mean? So, of course, if I'm moving in that direction and I see that you're not moving in that direction, it's like, damn, like I literally just put my whole self out there, you know what I mean, for you, and to be
Jeez,
disrespectful.
crucify me, Chase. But let me tell you how I redeemed myself. How I redeemed myself was somehow I went back to my toxic dude while the good dude was still taking me to lunch and stuff like that. And when I tell you I got my heart broken, like it wasn't heartbreak, the reality. In situationships, what creates the heartbreak is the reality. Either something serious happens, and for me, I reached the point where I didn't want to deal with my toxic situationship no more, and I cut it off. However, a lot of times we think going cold turkey and focusing on our future is what's going to be that antidote to that heartbreak. When in reality, it was a whole year later. I done cut him off, blocked him, blocked his mama, blocked his friends, blocked anybody. If I even see you breathe next to him, you block, okay? Because I'm like, I just need to go cold turkey. I need to like leave this dude alone. And I was so proud of myself. And so one day I got a message hearing that he got into a relationship. And in that situation specifically, I never pushed for a relationship. Why? Because going with the flow. Going with the lead. Having too much ego. I'm not going to make him feel like I want this, but you're doing everything with this person that is essentially a relationship, and it's going to get your emotions tied into it. And I was heartbroken. I didn't speak to this man in a year, and I was like crying in the mirror, crying and laughing. You know women, we do that shit.
No.
Like you be crying, and you be like, I'm really crying, and you start laughing. It was the craziest thing. First heartbreak I ever experienced. And the first thing I did was call the dude.
Not the other dude?
No, but you know why? I texted him and I said, no, I didn't call him to lean on him. I called him to say, hey, do you feel like I lead you on? Because I just remember feeling I never want to make someone feel like this ever. Like, so the first thing I'm like, this is your karma. Let me fix it. So I hit him up. I'm like, do you feel like I'm leading you on? He said, no. I feel like you want to be with me and I want to be with you. We're just trying to find the right timing. And I said, I'm focusing on God right now. That's I don't know what to say. Look, let me tell y'all, if y'all ever want to get out of a situationship, just put it on the Lord. Focus on God, right? So I'm like, it's just a lot going on right now, and I'm just trying to focus on God, so I'm not really looking for a relationship with anyone. And when I said that, I was left on red.
But you know what? Honestly, and kind of contrary to what I was saying before, like you can't really expect for the person who, say for example, if you're pursuing a relationship, you can't expect the other person to be in the same pursuit of you, the same pursuit as you. And I think the problem now is that we all kind of want the person to move at the beat of our drum. You know what I mean? And we don't give them the freedom to move at their own rhythm. And we want a relationship. We want this. We want Or we want the opposite. We want to just have fun, and we're expecting the other person to be like, well, you should be willing to have fun too, because that's what I want. Or you should want a relationship too, because that's what I want. And I think we have to allow people the freedom to move at their own rhythm and not get so mad when they don't move to the beat of our drum. You know what I mean?
But I also feel like they need to be honest. Because I've been in situationships where I didn't know that these guys had girlfriends.
And
You tell me. I had no idea.
So tell me how you found out.
So, well, one, I found out because we were always, like, it was always at, like, a distance. So, like, we were, like, hanging out or whatever. And, like, I went back home. And we went to, like, my old job. And this girl, she called me because I brought him to, like, the job or whatever. So then she called me later at night. She was like, hey, sis, like, do you talk to the guy that she brought to the thing? And I was like, yeah, why was that? She was like, I think he have a girlfriend. I was like, what? She was like, but I'm going to find out tomorrow. Da, da, da. So, y'all, I called him that night. I didn't want to accuse him or nothing. I was young, though. I didn't want to accuse him. And I was like, hey, so tell me why somebody said you got a girlfriend. You know what he said to me? What did he say? The information you have is true.
Ooh.
I said, and I...
He had the nerve to be honest. Oh, my God. I said, you're supposed to lie to me.
You contacted my friends trying to come up and visit me. And I had to really think, am I dumb? Like, because I would have known this, but I literally had no idea. So all these lies, I'm just believing him. I'm trusting him. That was the first person. The second person, I was like in college or whatever. Like, he will always come, like, we were like maybe like an hour or so away. Like, he will always come down to get me, or I'll go visit him, da-da-da. Like, I had no idea. Like, even like I found out later that like people didn't even really know he had a girlfriend because he wasn't like flaunting her or whatever. So I was like, am I crazy? Like, these guys really be out here living double lives. And I was like, I guess you had time for her when you weren't talking on the phone with me. Like, I guess she was down there with you. And I was just like, I don't know. I found out because one of my friends had sent me a screenshot of the girls' page. And it was like, they was posting like their anniversary or something like that. And I was like, what? Because he didn't post it. I only follow him. So when I asked him about it, he was like, I know who you talking about, but that's not my girlfriend.
So what is she?
So what is she?
Your
So you just letting this girl walk around claim you as a boyfriend? Like, guys be out here just lying, my man.
Listen.
Lying.
I
was like, what?
I can't take the whole load for that. Yes, they're awesome. But let's reverse it, because there are chicks out there that got 2-3 boyfriends and be getting away with it. So let's not even sit there and try to put it on.
Cylla, do you want to test that? Is there something?
I have 2-3 boyfriends. No, I don't. But I definitely have my own fair share of situationships. I think like one of like a bigger problem that I had in the past was like someone that I dated in college, and this person, we just weren't on the same page. So he was like, I'll never move to New York. I'm never gonna go there. Also, I want like kids like next year. Like, it just wasn't like something. I was like, well, I plan on going to New York. I plan on doing this and that, the third, and we weren't on the same page. But Pisces, we just be holding on to like the bitter end. And so like, I just remember that one, he was the person who broke up with me in a text message after like
you can't text message break up.
Oh, he sure did. And we had dated almost like a year or like a while. Like, that was like disrespect. And then I saw he like went on this trip. He was wearing the clothes I bought him.
No! And that's when you should have reported the police.
I was like, what? I was devastated, and I was actually with some of like my very best friends from my hometown, and I vividly remember this happening. I got the text message. I was like I was like on the floor, like I was like.
What did he say? How do you break up with someone's?
He sent me this long ass message. Broke up with me. I tried to call him. He had his phone off. I was like, oh, no. So then, like, my friends were all like talking or whatever, and I'm like on the floor in disarray. And then in disarray. And then I just kind of like walked out the house, and like, so like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I was like, but everything for a reason. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
And then I went to New York and
look at you.
And amazing, and this person has a whole child.
Or whatever. Talk about that.
Well,
in New York.
I want to touch on something you said really quick because the first thing you said when you found out that the dude you was in a situationship had a girlfriend, you said, "What's wrong with me?" And I really want to touch on that part because I always say I have this quote where I said, "You'll always get over someone playing you. You would never get over playing yourself." And it boils down to what we say about situationships, where there is a phase of our life, like you're growing, you're getting to know yourself, and you don't know what you look for. That's the blessing in situationships, because you come out them shits like, I would never do this. Like you just you create a sense of your identity continues to grow the more you get into these bullshit situations, and you're just like, the next dude that's gonna get you feel bad for him, but in a sense you're more prepared. Like you have an idea of what you won't tolerate. I feel like with dating it's more important to know what you won't tolerate versus what you're looking for. If we write down everything that we're looking for, we'll all have the same list. But when it comes to what we won't deal with, that's where our identity, our past, our experience comes to play. And it's like, okay, well, what you could deal with, I might not be able to deal with, and vice versa.
Exactly. Yeah, granted that was like years ago, but me and you had like conversations all the time. And like when you had told me like, okay girl, write down what you absolutely would not tolerate. That has helped me, because even every guy that I've talked to, I'm like, you know, I get rid of guys quick. I be like, I get annoyed quick. I be like, nope, you looked at me wrong, nope, and I'm just like, I realized like, okay, I absolutely can't deal with this. And then I also realized, okay, like Michelle, you tripping.
Yeah.
Like, girl, calm down.
That's true.
So,
how do you guys, have you ever tried to turn a situationship into a relationship?
I feel like I've definitely probably tried to do that in the past. Some things may have worked, some things haven't. I think it's just about actual communication. Because I feel like sometimes, at least for me, I've probably made the same mistake over and over and over. And at a certain point, you gotta like look at yourself. Yeah. And be like, why do you keep doing that? You know, why do you keep going for a certain trash type of person when you've seen the warning signs? Yeah. That's the biggest thing I think can help, is when you notice something and you see a warning sign or something that lets you know like this isn't good. Right. You should stop and make a change. Look in the mirror, make a change.
I think what people don't realize is dating is a conscious sport. Like a lot of times we're just hoping for some magical sparkles to come down and we're using our feelings to go with the flow, but it's a conscious sport. Like you really gotta know what you want, what you're not gonna do, and a lot of times it takes a lot of discipline with yourself to be like, okay, bitch, no, and or nigga, no, bro, no. Like, it takes a point where you have to look in the mirror and say no. Like it's not always. I know, you know, a lot of times when people see certain people in a situation that's not theirs, it's very easy to be like, no, you need to do this, not this. But when you're in it, the amount of strength it takes for you to pull yourself outside of yourself and look at yourself like, what is you doing, and really reassess everything that's going on. It's a sport. It's a conscious sport. Sometimes you're not like, I know for me, I'm big on the cutoff game, and a lot of times my friends try to like define me as a person who struggles with commitment, and it's not that. Like a lot of times it's a fight between my heart and my mind. But I'm always big on what my first situationship heartbreak taught me is, a situation is always going to end up the way it's meant to end up. So if you're in a situation that's like, okay, we ain't connecting, ultimately, no matter how much you try to hold on, no matter how much you try to fake your way through it, no matter how much you try to become, like it was times where I would like to, like I know I'm big on zodiac signs, and I was talking to a guy that was a Sag, and Sagittarius aren't compatible. But I'm like, damn, Sagittarius and Leos are compatible, so let me look up traits of Leos and try to be more Leo-ish. And it was to the point where even the small task of texting, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna say good morning. No, that might be. Let me try to add a joke. Like it was stressful. Like I was you try so hard to make a situation be what it is, and it's like regardless, I don't care if you get married to this person, have kids. If it is not meant to work, it's not gonna work. And the more you resist it, the more toxic or the more explosive the end is gonna be. You know, versus it just being a conversation of it's not going to work. So I reached a point in my life where I would look at a situation, and I have this thing where it's a difference where you're trying to get someone to learn how to love you or be with you versus trying to change their character. Your character is who you is. And I feel like a lot of times women, I don't know if you could attest to that, I just feel like women, we have this thing where we feel like we can build a bear. Like, no, be a little this. Sometimes people are who they are. Maybe you need to go find somebody else. Like, versus trying to make that person.
Because you can't change people.
So it's like,
Can I ask this question?
Yeah.
You said build a bear, which I think is a good question to ask. Not necessarily build a bear, but obviously dating, regardless, dating is going to take time. When you first meet a person, we're always looking for red flags, but really we should just be looking for the good in them, but that's a whole different story. Plus, when you first meet a person, they're always going to give you like their sponsor or their
spiel.
Like their
representative.
Their representative. That's the word.
Their representative.
So, but one thing I do want to ask you ladies, and I asked this question to a friend of mine before. So say, for example, you can't find a man that fulfills all of your qualities emotionally, sexually, physically, all that stuff. Have you ever been in a situationship where you've dated multiple men simply to fulfill each quality that you're looking for?
I mean, I'll start because it'll be quick. I'm horrible with that. I'm loyal even to the talking stage. And it's not loyalty for me. It's just like I'm big on just connection and energy. And once I'm tied to something, it's really hard for me to be interested in anything else. Like, so I become loyal to a default. So I haven't. I mean, no, not necessarily. I went to eat a little bit. I took a joke or two there, but I didn't really
take me out and we're gonna go to eat. This is the guy who I'm gonna fuck. This is the guy who I'm gonna take to my parents.
No, and I wish I could be.
I ain't got it. I'm not. No.
I'll be calling each other each name. I'm a little too.
Would not be able to handle that level of expertise. But I do have some girlfriends who trying to get some sugar daddies here or there, trying to do this and that, and I'm like, sis, somebody's got to do it.
I'm here for it.
For you. But yeah, I mean, I know.
Michelle?
I haven't. I thought about it. But I haven't. Because like you, Kadi, like to me, I'm just so, I wouldn't say loyal, but I tend sometimes, and I had to stop doing this, putting all my eggs in one basket. Because once I like you, like I'm interested. Because it takes a lot for me to get interested in you. So if I'm interested in you, I don't got time to be like, because then everybody else becomes annoying.
Yes.
So I'm just like, if you can fulfill majority of that, that's probably why I'm interested in you anyway. But I haven't been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to him for this. Oh yeah, he gonna take me out. It's normally both of them taking me out.
Yeah.
And then we gonna figure out from there. Like.
So what qualities does a guy 85% or I guess 60% have to be fulfilled for you to be like, all right, that's the guy?
That's a good question.
You got 3 guys. You got one. All 3 of them want to take you out, but one of them just want to smash. The other one is into you emotionally, and the other one is kind of figuring it out with you. Out of those 3 guys, which one of them are you going to be like, I'm going to go with him because he fulfills this, he fulfills that, and we could work towards fulfilling these other aspects of.
I want to add to your question because that is a very important question because it really will help a woman realize what their weaknesses. Because I mean, initially, if I would have answered that question, I would have said something that sound nice, like, "Oh, he got to have his life together," or whatever. But when I look back on, I think I want y'all, when y'all answer this question as well, to look back on your past dating history and see what it was that kept you in situations that you shouldn't have been long enough. And I think for me, damn, this is deep, because I think for me it was, this is going to sound very vague because it was personality, but what it was with personality is I was attracted to people that had things in their personality that I felt like I didn't have in myself. And for me, it was like a trophy. Like, I think one thing I had to learn about dating is a lot of times we date from our broken selves and not our, like, healed and best selves. So I felt like outside looking in, I know a lot of my guy friends will always tell me this, "Girl, you always like hood dudes. Like, you always like hood dudes." That was their thing. Like, I like the bad boy. And I think for me, it's because when I was much younger, when I was the broken me, I was very timid. very insecure, very small, didn't speak, always was like timid, a pushover, like things like that. And I felt like when I would see the opposite character, even though I grew up to be, you know, more outspoken, more confident, I think when it came to dating, I think dating or your romantic, I think it's the last vulnerable aspect of you that you hit. You know what I'm saying? So you can learn how to heal. Like, I learned how to be more confident in the workplace. I learned how to be more confident in school. I learned how to be more confident with friends. But I think the last aspect that I didn't touch on was the part that requires me to be completely open. So I was still in that broken space. So I think I always liked the bad boy. I like the out there one. And it's because a part of me makes me feel like, oh, if I got that, that's like me. It being me. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And with that, if you had that, then we could compromise with everything else. Like, okay, you ain't got the job, okay, we gonna figure it out, right? Okay, oh, you don't know how to do this, okay, we gonna figure that part out. And got me into some shit.
Ooh, child. I feel like I definitely relate with that as well. I feel like it definitely had something to do with personality, with the connection that I had with the person. I feel like when I was young,
Younger.
Like back in my day.
Back in the day, you know, as an example, you know, I was a sheltered child. I grew up in a very small town. There were like 20 churches, like that, like 2 Walmarts, 2 movie theaters.
Lord.
There's nothing to do. But at the time, I had it was like one of my first boyfriends. So I dated this person, my complete opposite. But he was a little crazy, you know? And I was also a little bit shallow when it came to looks at the time. I ended up meeting another guy with the same name, Messy. This guy, he was very attractive, but all he talked about was cars. So I ended up fake breaking up with the first guy, because though we had a great connection, though we had a connection, I was like, okay, let me date this other guy. Maybe he's what I'm looking for, the full package or whatever. But I ended up breaking with him and going back to the first guy because I was really bored. So I think the biggest thing.
Well, what's boring? What is boring about it?
All he's talking about was cars.
But that's what he likes. He enjoys that.
I mean, how many conversations?
But that's not what she was into.
That wasn't what I was into. Me and the other person, we really connected, could talk about anything all night, just you know, when you're younger, and that was it. So, for me, I do think it had to do with, the connection. Can I speak with you? Can we have a good conversation? Can we talk about anything and actually go there? But I do think I was attracted to a lot of bad boys as well, because I was a shelter child and all I did was watch Rugrats.
Yeah.
But then you just gotta let that go, you know?
I'm glad you mentioned that just really quick, because I wasn't sheltered, but I was a late bloomer. I think not being sheltered made me very more okay, I'm not, you know, I done seen it all. You know what I'm saying? So it's it made me a late bloomer in that too. I feel like because I didn't get that young, wild child that people did in middle school where I was from.
I did not.
I was 22, we out here, let's do some ghetto shit. I was into that excitement because I didn't get it when I was young. So yeah. Michelle?
I forgot the question.
What is it that you look for? What do a guy have to have majority of for you?
Physically, emotionally,
you know.
And look back on your past history of guys you dated and pull from that.
Well, I feel like clearly they ain't work, so I don't need to pull from that.
But there's something that
I think my biggest thing was, and this is gonna probably sound bad, but I realized I was attracted to guys that kind of had stuff that I wanted, or guys that could show me things, which is not bad. They can show me things that I wasn't exposed to, because I wasn't sheltered. I grew up in the city. I was exposed to a lot of stuff, so I didn't go crazy when I was older or whatever. But I just feel I was into a guy who was not in the in crowd, but like was like very social, like could dress, like had a lot going on, a little thick, whatever. But I don't know, but I feel like I was always into a guy who showed that they really wanted me. And I guess I was attracted to that because when I was younger, I had like a lot of insecurities. I was just like, yeah, nobody really likes me. So like I used to, like, when a guy showed interest in me, I was like, oh yeah, like let me like, you know, be with him or whatever. And I think that's what turned into like a lot of the situationships. But I feel like I was mainly attracted to guys who like had something that I didn't have, but I wanted. If that makes sense.
Money.
Like,
not necessarily money, because like I feel like I wouldn't say money, but like they had their life together. Even though when I look back, when I was like, girl, you weren't at that point, so how you expect somebody you dating to be at that point? Because I was just like, oh yeah, no, like I remember I stopped talking to the guy. I was like, he got this Virginia mentality. I ain't got time for that. I live in New York. What can you do for me?
Right.
You want to have a house and kids and family. Can you afford my lifestyle in New York? I was like, nah. But I was like, okay, Michelle. I mean, granted, it wasn't going to work. But I was just like, it was little stuff like that I had to check myself on, because I was just like, that doesn't really make that big of a difference. Like, what are you really into? What's your morals? What's your values? Like, how are we connecting? So I was a little, like, shallow in that sense. But, yeah.
I'm going to throw your own question to you. Yeah.
You can't re-gift the question.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
For me, I'm a very down to earth person. I'm not. I like someone who's adventurous, someone who likes to see new things, try new things. Someone who's just down to earth, cool, not full of themselves. Like, stuff like that makes me feel better. Like, I'm not. You don't have to have the fattest ass or the biggest titties or the smallest waist. Like, if we have a good connection, if we have good conversation, I have a
are you still gonna be on Instagram strolling like other people with the fattest ass in the?
I'ma like it, but I'm not gonna take it anywhere further than that. I'ma just like the picture because it's nice to look at. But I think for me, I cherish a person who I can literally just. I don't want to say in the initial stages. I don't want to say like be like super comfortable with, but like someone who I can kind of just like, you know, breathe and let my shoulders like just.
Have you ever been in a situationship?
Yeah, I've been in a situationship before.
And what stopped it from becoming a relationship?
Because she didn't want a relationship. She actually just got out of a relationship.
With someone else. Yeah.
Without giving out too much detail, it was a woman that I met. We talked a lot, had like a lot of good conversations. We hang out a lot. Her boyfriend moved to a new city, and so they broke up. But I think she was still in that like kind of having feelings for him mode, and I don't think she was like looking for anything after that. But I was still like trying to, without like explicitly saying like, yo, like I want to be with you, because
so
I knew she was
explicitly tell her.
Because it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, where it was convenient. It was, I didn't want to like lose her. It was the scarcity mindset. Like if I said this, you probably would get weirded out and it would be over. So to avoid that, I kind of just went with the flow, like you said, and kept it going because I genuinely enjoyed her company. I genuinely enjoyed like talking to her. So I didn't want to lose that portion of it.
So what happened?
I haven't spoken to her in a while. We just
kind
of faded,
It was like one of the fade away.
Ghost fade.
Yeah.
So fade.
You know, one thing I hated about situationships that make it so ghetto, what I learned is like, I don't like the restriction. Like, I think like eventually as you start to learn yourself and as you start to feel confident in the fact that you can want what you want, that the restriction is so whack. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I mastered what it takes to be in a situation. I do all the games. Like, I'll do something like engage in a conversation with you, like a very intriguing conversation, like, and then just go ghost for 2 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, he think he don't want me. He gonna want me now. Like, cause I don't care where a person is. I don't care where a person is with you. Nobody likes to be ignored. So when you just fall off the face of the earth, like, I won't get on Instagram. I won't get on nothing. I want you to think I'm dead. And I just love the fact that you're so worried. Like, they'll be texting me, yo, hello? Then I'll just stay ghost and then I'll come back regular as hell. Like, hey, what's up?
You know what? I'm saying, not to cut you off, and people still do this, like, to the day. Like, I don't understand if we stop talking or, like, we just stop texting or whatever, and why are you still looking at my IG stories?
But I like that.
But you know what? Actually, you know what? I take that back because I'm a big component, and I might just psych myself out with this. Like, if we stop talking, they're not blocked. I don't block them off social media. I don't block their phone number, so I allow them to see. But then I realize, I'm like, so Brandon, if you go ghost to and you just like watching my eyes, that's just weird.
Like you go ghost and then
Can you
Y'all be doing
explain
the same thing? What you mean me
No,
explain?
I want you to explain.
why do guys
Why ghost and then still follow you and like?
Because if I ghost, I'm not gonna be like
if I ghost you,
if you ghost me and I'm still looking at your stories.
No, you ghost her, but then you still be looking at the stories. That's like extra. Now you really, that's like kicking me and then spitting at me. Really, you know you was on my tape, but you ignored me.
Here's the thing: I did ghost a girl.
See, he did.
And we still follow each other on Instagram, and I still be like on her stories. I'll still put the like emojis. And
So why?
Does she respond?
Why do you do
Because
this?
I don't respond.
I think that's their way of saying, let me show you I ain't shit. Let me.
No, I feel like it's their way of like, honestly, I feel like a lot of times, because I had talked to this guy or whatever, and like we had like, I gave him a second chance, so, like we had started talking back again, and then like he disappeared. I was just like, oh, okay, and then I was like, all right, we still follow each other on like Instagram or whatever, but I don't know, he don't pop up on my timeline, but he's still following me. So then I posted this fire story or whatever, and then he put like a little fire emoji. What am I supposed to say to that? I ain't responding.
I'm just letting you know that was.
No, I feel like they be trying to test to see if I still have a way in. No, the door is closed. The block is locked down.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
Yes,
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I think you overthinking it way too much.
So
I think for me, I might have really just liked the post.
I don't like myself.
There's girls who I've ghosted who I still see on Instagram, and they might have posted some shit. And I'm like, damn, that was dope. Or sometimes
I just want y'all to know our cameramen are laughing right now.
Yeah, but honestly, at the same time, it wasn't like, it was nothing about you. I think sometimes women think it's all about them, and sometimes it's really not.
This is a perfect gateway question because I wanted to ask this because I'm still struggling with this now. Do you feel like there has to be an automatic spark between you and someone to confirm that, for you guys to date? Like, I'm just saying, like, for me with dating, I expect it to be this automatic spark in the beginning, but one thing I realize is the ones who are very good at creating that automatic spark in the beginning are usually the most toxic ones or trash ones at the end. So I'm like, is it normal? I mean, I would think that it's normal for things to gradually get to a point where you become, attracted, but at the same time, I'm like, if we in the first 30 seconds of the conversation and you ain't no sparks flying, then I just feel like this ain't it. And it's easier for me to ghost you. It's easier for me to feel like, okay, I might not give you explanation, but I might go back and look at your story, but
you know why you think like that?
Why?
And I'm going to kind of answer that question as well with the whole sparks thing. First of all, I don't think you need to have sparks in the beginning. I think it should gradually grow because nobody's going to give you their authentic self. Because somebody can give you their self and then they turn and they ain't shit. But what I would say, and I know you guys wanted to kind of touch on speaking about dating in New York City, it's variety. And you have so much of a variety of not only men but women as well, that the second you meet a person, you're automatically you're not even trying to find the spark, you're trying to find what is it about this person that I could just be like, fuck it, on to the next one. And I think us as guys do the same thing with women as well as women do with men, where it's just like, alright, okay, she said some shit that was just stupid when she was probably just nervous, or vice versa, he might have just been nervous and he might have said something and you was, oh no, cut off, I'm cutting him off. But I think it's the variety. If the variety wasn't if it wasn't a vast majority of men and women for us to have access to, then we probably would be more lenient on people where it's like, all right, cool, let me give him a chance, or let me give her a chance. But I think because of the variety, I mean, I've had experiences with being on dating apps where I'm like, nah, her fucking eye is just too. Too cross.
Her lash hanging off.
Her her lashes. She ain't even put it on the right way. So
I'm done.
Swipe left.
But I've had a moment, because I told you I'm into zodiac signs. So I met a guy that was an Aries, and one of my bestest friends is an Aries. And I'm just like, we used to always have this thing, like, I need to find a male version of you. I can't wait to find an Aries. She's always like, I gotta meet a Sag. So I finally met an Aries, and I'm just like, okay, this is it. I should be married by next week. We should have our first 10 kids the week after that. But yo, there was no spark, and I was trying to force it. Like, I'm like, no, it says here, right here on Zodiac.com, we are compatible. It is something. You gotta say a joke. You gotta do something. Like, so every which way I was trying to force this situation, and every time I would talk to him, it would just be like we would have conversations and everything, but it just wasn't there. Like that it factor you need just wasn't there. So I just feel like there is a fine line between being patient and allowing things to grow, and then there's that line that's like you cross it and it's like, okay, no, it was just never there, and let it go.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like the people that I end up previously liking the most were the ones that I did not see in my wildest dreams, liking. I wasn't initially really attracted to them, and then they started to grow on me. So I think me not really being attracted to them at first, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get to know them. Whereas if I'm attracted to somebody, I'm like, but I feel like it doesn't have to initially be a spark, but also I feel like I've been in situations because, Kadi, you know this, like a lot of times I'll be like, oh no, he got this going on, he got this now, like XXX. So like recently I was just like, okay, like let me give this person a try, but then I feel like I've given them too many tries. So I'm like, okay, like yo, like you shouldn't be like Xing him out so quickly. But then I'm just like, it's really no spark, like let it go, like it's not gonna happen. And I'm like thinking to myself, like clearly I'm just like overthinking something or whatever. Like this one guy that I was talking to, and our first date went well. And then, like, he just started, like, low-key, I feel like he had a lot of insecurities within himself. He started projecting on me. He was like, I see the way you pull up your shirt and the way you adjust your pants and you trying not to show your body to me. And I was like, what? Huh? Like, and I was just, like, little stuff like that. I was like, what be going on in your mind? Like, I was like, I'm adjusting my shirt because I don't want my titty out in the bar. Like, I'm cold. We sitting at the bar and pull up my pants. Like, it just be, like, little stuff. But I feel like I would give a guy a chance, but it's just kind of realizing too, like you can't give people too many chances, like try to like walk over you, or like if you know this is like, that's when it comes back to your no list, stick to that and be like, okay, this is absolutely what I don't want. Like I'm not trying to like go past my list just because I want to be in a relationship.
Right.
Like that's it.
And not just what you don't want, what doesn't fit you. Like you gotta get to know yourself. You know your personality. Absolutely. You know what you're able to tolerate. And I feel like a lot of times where we fall short is that we try to work out situations that will naturally go against who we are. So even if we try to fake the funk in the beginning, ultimately your natural self is going to break through one way or another, and that's what's going to clash with the other person. Now, as much as I say we're leaving situationships in 2020, 2019, I do believe they're necessary. So I want us to end off by giving off tips to people who are still in their situationship phase, because you got to go through it, because you're going to learn you through them situationships. But what are some tips that you would give people who are in situationships now that you wish you had when you were in it?
Sure. I feel like what I would say is just make sure whatever arrangement that you guys have is what you want. And actually communicate what you want out of a situationship or a relationship. I think that's the biggest thing, knowing what you want and actually having open communication about it. Because I feel like the lack of communication is where the issue lies.
I think, and I guess I would give this specifically to men, is to be the dominant one. I think a lot of times, and I say that in like the most
not me too-ish way.
Yeah, not me too-ish way.
Right, like
in the most like appropriate way, but like be the man. I think a lot of times you see a lot of women now. Okay. I think a lot of times you see a lot of women now becoming getting more into a masculine role, and the reason why you see that is because men are becoming less vocal about what they want, less dominant in terms of like saying, hey, I want to take you out here at 7:30 or whatever. It's more passive now with men. So I think if you don't want to be in a situationship, like definitely be vocal. Definitely show a woman that, yo, like I'm not just some average Joe that you could just call and be your emotional tampon. Like I really want to be in a relationship with you. Like don't be afraid to be vocal. Don't be afraid to say, hey, like, you know, this is what I want from you. Like, you just don't be afraid to take the lead. You know what I mean? And I think she'll have a little bit more respect for you. I mean, you guys can obviously attest to that more than I speak to that more than I can. But yeah, just be dominant. Just don't be afraid to have that killer instinct in a sense by going after what you want and being vocal about what you want. Because if not, that's the easiest way to get put in a friend zone or get put in a situation. See, I feel like a situationship is different for a man than it is for a woman. I feel like for a woman, it's just like you getting piped down, you getting dick down, and that's pretty much it. Like you getting calls at like 9 o'clock at night. I'm not giving away the game, but I'm kind of giving away the game. You getting calls at 9 o'clock at night to get, you know, and you getting piped down, and then next thing you know, you getting called, you know, you getting sent off in the morning, taking that walk of shame. Every time,
guys be texting you throughout the day.
No toxic situations. They be giving you mad emotional, like.
You know what I'm saying? You know, when y'all piping it, he's just hitting it from the back. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think.
But I think for and I'm just joking here, but like I think for men, it's more about when you're in a situationship, it's more about you're kind of just like in the friend zone for the most part, where a woman needs, you know, emotional support. She needs that person to kind of like grasp onto in those tough times, and you're just there, you're convenient, you're in close proximity, and you know damn well she's not going to take you any serious than that. So, and to avoid that, you know, just be the dominant one, be the man. Like, I think every woman wants a man's man, so just don't be afraid of that.
That's real.
You know, I've been shy before. I've been scared to vocalize what I wanted, and it only backfired on me. So
that's real.
What I would say and what I've learned is definitely the communication. I feel like communication is key. I feel like you need to vocalize what you want in the beginning and not be afraid to actually tell yourself that, because I feel like for me, I was afraid to admit to myself that I wanted a relationship. And I was just like, ooh, girl, you gotta say that out loud. But, and also I would say, and this is something that I've been working on too, is being vulnerable. I feel like you have to allow yourself to open up, and Kadi, you tell me this all the time. Like you have to allow yourself to open up and be vulnerable, because otherwise, like, you're going to stay in a situation because people aren't going to really get to know who you are. Like, you can't just say your representative is just all out here, and you want that person to be real with you. So I feel like you really have to be vulnerable. You really have to communicate what you want, and just don't go against the grain of what you don't want. Like, don't settle. Like, if you know, like, you don't want to date a guy or a girl with kids, or like you don't want to date somebody that's been in jail or like smoking and stuff like that, like, stay true to that, because like you said, at the end of the day, like, once like shit hits the fan, you stuck with them. So it's just like, you might as well put all out there now. So I would say that.
I will end off by saying one of the things that I regret in situationships whenever it's over is like the moments you stay silent, the moments you didn't show up for yourself, the moments where you had that instinct of you should say something, or this ain't sitting right. You know, a lot of times in situationships we think whoever can be the toughest, whoever can be the one who is not falling too much in love is going to come. It becomes this competition. And one thing I always say, something is going to end, it's going to end regardless. And I think that has helped me be more vocal in moments where it's like, I don't like how this feels. Like, I know a lot of things people do in situationships, like, oh, I ain't his girlfriend, so I can't say nothing. Yeah, he just tongue kissed this girl right dead in my face, but I'm not his girlfriend, I can't say nothing, or that ain't my girl. Like, you know, but it's eating you up inside. And I think for you to come out on top, whether you're going to end up with this person or not, it's to show up for yourself. Because in those moments where you don't do that, that's what spills over in other relationships. When you start to date other people, you leave out with it was me. Is this something wrong with me, or was it me? So yeah, just test yourself. Like, I feel like situationships and every relationship you get into is meant to teach you about yourself. You know what I'm saying? We're going through life learning ourselves, and you're not going to get to know yourself if you're not putting yourself true situations. So just say whatever's on your mind. Speak up. Show up for yourself. That's just one advice I have for you guys. Thank you so much for coming. We can talk all along about things. Can y'all give y'all Instagrams one more time?
Oh, my Instagram name, my handle is at Cylla Lynn at ChellalALYN.
Malcolm, go and then.
Mine is Parker's Paradise. ParkersParadise. That's my Instagram.
Okay, I'm like, is there more letters? And your Instagram, and also let people know where they can watch Situationships again.
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Cylla Senii, CYLLASENII. And you can watch Situationships now on BT.com and on BT's YouTube channel.
That was great. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. I'm Baby Oprah, voice of reason. How y'all doing out here tonight?